Call the meeting to order. We want to come all together in this here today. Candace, at the record show, we do have a quorum present. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the August 7, 23 minutes.
How much to approve?
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Approval of September 11, 23 board agenda. Any amendments? Any amendments to the agenda?
I make a motion to approve.
I'm sorry.
Got a motion, got a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to make sure that we were offering public comment before and after if we could. I don't know if that's in the agenda or not, if we needed to put that in or whatever. I might be too late on that. I should have said something earlier.
That's possible right there.
That can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
We
because
want to amend the agenda.
Yeah.
We should have a motion to amend the agenda then.
thank you. Everybody can't be here right at the beginning, so I'd like for everybody to be heard. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Well, you all's gonna have to make the motion though, not me.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
I'll second it. Or you want me to make the motion?
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Where are you putting it?
After the last action item. Right before the board comment. All right, Golden Bell Award recognition.
We want to take this point in the meeting to recognize our school board. They were awarded the Gold Bell Award from the North Carolina School Boards Association, and it's presented to them in recognition for training excellence and commitment during the 22-23 school year by the North Carolina School Boards Association, Academy of School Boardsmanship by, and is signed by Mrs. Leanne Winter, the Executive Director of the North Carolina School Boards Association. So here is a certificate that recognizes that and our school board for their training activity during the past year.
Public comments. Any public comments?
Mr. and Mrs. Amanda, and Sean Howard have signed up for public comment.
Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We generally don't answer questions back.
Sure. Thank you,
You may,
Professor.
if it ain't bad, you might get 4.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak. I am a proud parent of a senior at Jones Senior who is a varsity football player. There has been some conversation around the community about the varsity football team right now and the coaching staff. So I just wanted to come to you today just to give some insight on my side. I've been a part of this program since 2020 to 2021 was when my son was a junior. He's now graduated, sophomore in college, great. I can only speak of that time because I was only a part of it during that time. However, I have put together some stats. And I know some of the complaints that are coming out is that poor coaching on our team, there's no discipline. I'm gonna put a couple things in perspective, is what I'd like to do tonight. The 2021 school year, we ran a junior varsity team with 20 players. We had 5 games that year. We won 1, lost 4. 21-22, we had a varsity team. We had 29. And I do have copies of all my stats if you'd like them. I did make you a copy. We had 29 players. We played 8 games that year. We won 2 and lost 4. the 22-23 year last year. We had 31 kids and 10 games, 1 win, 9 losses. This year, to be determined, we're excited, I'm excited, but I want to put this year in perspective. Of the 29 dressed players that we have on our roster, we have 13 freshmen on our team. Of the players on that roster, 4th year players, there are 2. 3-year players, we have 3. 2nd year players, we have 3. And our 1st year players, we have 21. That is 72.4% of our team that have never played varsity football before. I'm not saying they haven't played prior, I don't know that. All I can go is what is provided to me. 45% of our team is juniors. We are running a JV football team. We are not gonna win every game. And if we look back at other coaches in the last 3 years, we didn't win then either. We have a small group of kids. We have a small community. So my question and my hope is that us as parents will begin to support our coaching staff as well as our administration, and ask that we as parents really take a step back and self-reflect and say to ourselves, what are we doing to support this team, and what are we doing to support this coach and his staff, because they've been so far so good. We've had a great summer program, and we have made strides in every game. The first game, y'all, I'm not lying, was a hot mess. In the second game, there was improvement. Third game, even more improvement. This coach is willing to try different things, and he talks to our children. I want to say, just speaking from my son, who is a captain on the team, that coach calls him every Saturday. How are you doing? What is going on? What did you think about film? He provides the film. So the parents, we need to do our part, and we need to make these kids watch film. We need to do our part with discipline. Discipline is not a coaching problem. Discipline is a parenting problem. That starts at home, and these kids need to have that structure at home in order to have that structure on the field. But again, thank you for your time. I just wanted to hear my side of it, my perspective with children who have been in this program for a while. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, I'm Sean Howard. That's my wife. I'm not gonna bore you with the details she just covered there, but I would like to echo some of the sentiments that she has just brought up. Coach Sellers, new coach coming to our school, coming to our team, has done a phenomenal job with instilling discipline at the school and on the field, and I'd like to commend him for that. There were things that transpired in the past to where there was cussing on the field, maybe things got out of control and it was not being controlled by the coaching staff, where he has took positive measures to put that into perspective, to alleviate that and actually hold people accountable when they are doing that. That's big in my eyes. You know, coming from a Christian family, we should raise these kids the right way and not have the coaches cussing at the kids, not have the kids cussing at one another, and hold them accountable so that's not happening. And it's just good sportsmanship. You look at the team we just played, North Duplin, a couple weeks ago, that last game. The sportsmanship that's portrayed on that field by that team, I even talked to the coach afterwards just to commend him for that. And that's what we should strive for, to where people are saying, you have a very well-disciplined team, and that's what we want to represent us when we go and travel there. Coach Sellers is trying to do that. So I support him 100%. If we have people saying that he's not doing a good job, or he's not doing the job that he's supposed to be, what are we doing to support him in that? Like my wife said, what are we doing at home to provide those kids the basic foundation? What are we doing getting them to the practices on time? Are we supporting them in the summer, getting them to the camps so they can go and get better? Because we don't have a large football community here. Are we doing everything we can to support that? Coach Sellers is willing to take those kids to these camps. He provided them 3 or 4 camps this year. Are we going to do that for the next year? My son won't be here to benefit for it, but all these other kids will be. We have a good group of kids. We need to get behind the coach, get behind those kids, and make them successful. We're the ones that can make that change, not anybody else. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yep. That's it.
Do we want to recognize Ms. Hill? Julius, at this time, if you want to go ahead and do your recognition, please go ahead.
Good evening, Chairman of the Board, Vice Chairman, Dr. Thigpen, Board Member. Want to honor Ms. Helen Hill. I've been here 1 year, working here for the district. I found out she was recognized by Governor Cooper a couple of weeks ago. This young lady had been driving buses in North Carolina for 56 years, since 1967. That's what I ain't so that old. I think it's an honor and a privilege just to recognize this young lady for the achievement she have did here for Jones County School. And I want to read what Governor Cooper gave to her. We're going to give honor to her today. From the state of North Carolina, offered Governor Roy Cooper. Ms. Helen Dove Hill. Dear Ms. Helen, as Governor of North Carolina, I'm honored to recognize your outstanding service to Jones County Public Schools for the past 56 years. Your dedication and love for the children you have taught and for those you have safely delivered to and from school each day as a school bus driver is a legacy to be very proud of. I'm grateful for what you have done and continue to do for the children of Jones County. My best wishes for another safe and fulfilling school year. May God continue to bless you in the days ahead. With warm personal regard, I am very truly yours, Roy Cooper. I mean, this is an honor, and we would love for her to stand up and give her. And I did record, she was actually our bus driver of the year for Pollockville Elementary this past year that I nominated her for. So very proud, glad to be working with you, and look forward to more years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hill, for your dedication to our students, and you're obviously invested in our county and the students that are here, and we appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
And she's living proof that you can work as long as she's worked and still have a very, very sweet disposition to the kids and everybody around her. She's an example. She's always been great to me, always.
I truly admire you. You know, I drove an activity bus, you know, only for athletics. So to get up and drive a school bus every day, and that many years, is phenomenal.
Thank you.
But we didn't tell them that they gave you your driver's license at 6 years old, Miss Helen. You were a prodigy. You got a early start. You had long legs at that time. You reached the clutch.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
But again, congratulations. And I want to be like you when I grow up.
Ms. Hill, thank you so much for, I mean, it's just amazing the number of years you've put in, and if you were to think back over those years and the number of kids you've touched over 56 years, we couldn't count them all. And so you're just a one in a million, and thank you for what you do, and it's greatly appreciated and revered for your dedication to our school system.
Thank you.
You're not planning to retire anytime soon, are you?
No, you warming us up for retirement.
Not until the state tell me I can't go no more.
That's a good answer. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. PLS update. First reading.
Good evening. I'd like to present to you the first reading of the PLS update. It's centered upon Senate Bill 49. And it's primarily a summary of the Parents' Bill of Rights. There are 15 required policies in this update. I am pleased to say later in the meeting and on the agenda, Attorney David Nolan will be presenting more information to you pertaining to this update.
Mr. Watson, any questions?
Not right now. When Mr. Nolan starts to speak with us, I'll probably have a couple questions. Thank you.
Mr. Griffin,
No.
Ms. Friar,
Not at this time.
Ms. Bird.
That was-
All right. Department update.
Board members, you have a rather lengthy department update where you've got ample information from each department about things that are going on. So, you know, take some time, look through that, and there's a great deal of explanation from our directors about what they have going on, the things that they're doing. And so if any of that you have a question about, reach back out to me, and if you want more information or have questions, we will get that to you.
Ms. Bird, any question?
Just one. I know they had rented a lift to replace the lights in the gym. Has that been completed at this time?
I would have to.
They actually, the lift arrived, this morning, and they began, doing that today.
Good, good. I had a parent that was concerned about that as far as the, being with the NCSHA, or in, you know what I'm saying? Cause they'll, can forfeit the teams. So we wanna make sure we have everything up to date. Thank you.
Ms. Field,
No, I don't.
Mr. Griffin.
Not so far.
Yes, sir.
All right, superintendent update and comment.
So board members, I have quite a bit of information to go over with you. The first one is in your packet. You have a letter that I'm proposing that we forward to the county commissioners, and it should be on our school letterhead. And what this does is that, you know, when we met last time, when we met a time or two before, we talked about wanting them to be aware. This outlines the number of cuts that we've made, and, you know, to make them aware that if we don't get increased support, we would have to probably make some more of those, and remind them that 64% of our employees are residents of Jones County, and it just outlines this information for them and states that we're willing to meet with them and discuss this further if they have any questions. And so what I'm asking you as a school board is it okay to forward this letter to our county commissioners to explain this to?
Do we need a motion? Do we need a motion?
This is the census.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it, and I think that they need to see this, and also, the community and the citizens of Jones County needs to reach out to the commissioners to request that our school, so that we don't have to cut jobs. We need more funding.
Yes.
And if with your words, then, you know, perhaps that can help us.
They're under misgivings a little bit that the state is paying for what we need to pay. And I don't know whether this letter really states that or not, or whether it tells them the history that they're not making these payments. Because I know there was some misunderstanding, because we have a former school board member on that thing, and he told them that, I think he didn't have the same knowledge that he needed to have either.
So and
that's what he told me. And so, I mean, and because he was on the board, and we were successful during that time, some of the county commissioners believe what he kind of followed his say-so. And that's why it was like that. So we need to make sure this letter stresses it, or send them a second letter following this up, saying it's not covered. Because we're gonna need more money
okay.
than what this is.
All right. So Ms. Rabia and Bryce and myself will make sure we get everything together and get this letter to them this week, so they're aware of that. Okay. Other thing I wanted to bring up to you is vacancies. You know, we continue to be blessed by that. They did a survey of all the districts in North Carolina, and there were 13 districts in the state of North Carolina that had 0 or 1 vacancies at the time school started, and we're one of those 13 districts. And so, you know, Bryce and his department has done a great job with that, and we continue to, you know, we've come through quite a bit and still been able to keep our positions filled, and so we're thankful to Bryce and his department for their hard work, and our principals for keeping connections with teachers and getting somebody in place when we have a vacancy. So I wanted to say kudos to them for that work. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was our test scores. You know, we've received information back regarding our test scores, and if you'll look on this chart here, it shows you as a school district, you know, where we've gone with grade level proficiency. You can see at each school, I'm going to show you another chart that will show it better, but you see at Pollocksville there, they've gone from 68.1 to 68. They've gone from a C to a B. You'll see that Comfort Elementary has gone from 59, lost my cursor there, 59.6 to 65. They're still a C, but they've, you know, had tremendous gains. Maysville Elementary has gone from 38.6 to 55% proficient. They've gone from a D to a C. Miss Downs at Trenton Elementary has gone from 29.4 to 40% proficient last year. So they've moved from an F to a D. They're still in low performing status, but you know, Susan could tell you how close we were to having every school in the district out. And then the high school, you see there the gains from 46 to 51, and then there's some other indicators that Susan will share more details with you and be more explicit with that later on. But here's the, you know, this is where we're at. If you look at all the counties that connect to us, Craven County has got us by 1 point, and we're going to get that 1 point this year. But that's where we're at with surrounding counties. So when people, you know, start talking about they want to leave Jones County to go somewhere else, they're not going to find a better education than we're providing our students here. So that is, I wanted to share that information with you. If you look at the gains that the different school districts have made, you can see we've gone from 45.2 to 53. We've gained 7.8 points. There's the other districts do not have gains with the amount that we've.
Doc, that is grade level performance, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we've had greater gains than other people around us, and so I simply say thank you. The teachers are the ones that have done this. Our teachers, our administrators, our students, and our parents, and you as a board member in supporting us, because everything we do, whether it's monitoring attendance or reducing discipline referrals, all that adds to these results. And so we just thank our parents and our students for their hard work. We thank our teachers for their hard work, and we thank you as a board for supporting us in what we do. So I wanted to make recognition of that and share the good news. Yes, sir.
Mr. Walsh, any questions?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Griffin? Ms. Field?
Proud of the improvements.
Yeah.
I'm with Debbie there. I'm really proud of the improvements that we made, and hopefully the word will get out that Jones County is a good place to be to educate your children.
Going into our action item, Senate Bill 49, Parents' Bill of Rights. Who's taking the lead on that?
I will talk somewhat briefly now, and if there's questions that require specific legal guidance, we can also revisit that when we get to closed session for legal advice. But as was mentioned, there's been a number of updates from the School Boards Association to their model policies that have gone around. Our firm has reviewed them. I'd say I'll start with the position we are comfortable with the School Board Association model policies, that, you know, if you all adopted those, we're comfortable they all fit the law and cover what's needed. There's a couple areas where there's some discretion for the board, and some things that you all may wanna think about, that I just wanna highlight now, and again, we can come back to it too. If there's more specific questions, I'm also happy to talk through some questions now. One thing that is important in particular with the first, and kind of their major policy update is to policy 1310. And I shuffled through my papers, I apologize for that. But the Senate Bill 49, SB 49 requires that there be consultation with parents, teachers, administrators, and community partners during development of the policies about parental involvement. You know, the policies are here on first read today, so that if they're gonna be revisited at the next board meeting, then I think that, you know, that allows for that opportunity for consultation, and I can talk with staff and we can work about what that might look like in terms of between now and the next meeting, if there is in fact consult from the public or from parents who wanna provide input or provide thoughts or come to the next meeting to speak about it. But to have that opportunity before that policy gets finalized and placed into a policy. The other key thing I wanna highlight that is not specifically mentioned in the school board's proposed policy is on the policy 3210 update, which talks about the parental right to inspect materials. And there's just two things I wanna flag on that one. One is the time frame. The model policy states that, all efforts should be made to schedule the time as soon as possible, but no later than 10 business days from the date of the request. The law also provides that if the materials are complex or voluminous, that the principal can have 20 days to comply with the request if notice is given to the requesting parent. Our recommendation would be to include that in the policy, so that it's clear that, you know, if needed, it can be up to 20 days to get a response to that. Depending on what's being asked, 10 days may be plenty of time for someone to come and look at something, or it may be something that might need 20 days to go through and provide. The other piece is that in that same provision, that's subsection A of the policy, it talks about the principal shall schedule a mutually agreeable date and time for the parent to come into the school to review the materials. We got a lot of questions about that from our larger clients in particular. An option is also to provide copies of the materials. If there aren't gonna be issues with copyright or something like that, then copies could be provided to the parent instead of scheduling a time for them to come to the school. Given the size of Jones County, I think it either way probably is fine. You're not likely to be overwhelmed with requests. I know, like I said, some of our largest clients, Wake in particular, was looking at that and said, we're gonna have lines out the door of people if we have everyone come in and look at that sort of thing, as opposed to being able to just provide them copies of these materials if they requested. So those are a couple things to consider in looking at the school board's model policies. I am scheduled to come on Wednesday. Looking over at my, making sure Mr. Markey has me covered for that. But yes, I'm scheduled to come on Wednesday to the principals meeting and talk through some of the considerations also coming out of this legislation with the principals and the staff. In particular, looking at these issues of replying to parent requests for information, and, you know, making sure that materials are accessible as required by the law.
I'm guessing the request for information, be it written, I mean, would be a little simpler, but does the 10 to 20 days still pertain to that?
Sorry, if the request for information,
If the request for information is not an actual meeting, like in bigger situations, or even our situation, if you're not gonna meet, does the 10 to 20 days pertain to written information sent to them also? Is that the same thing?
well,
10 to 20 days to respond?
this is just not, the 3210 is talking specifically about instructional materials.
Okay,
So if the parent requests to review instructional materials,
okay.
that's the only time that comes into play. And
Gotcha.
that's,
All right.
the policy 3200 will have the definition of what counts as an instructional material. So that's separate from just like a general communication that parents might have with the school or something like that, or requesting information in that fashion. This is specifically requesting to review some subset of instructional materials, or, you know, all instructional materials used for my child this year, that sort of thing.
Would just the general, information transfer fall under the same, 10 to 20 days, or is it?
If it's like a request for student records or something like that, not necessarily.
Okay.
No, it would only be what's defined in the law,
Gotcha.
for that.
And Mr. Logan, I know we are creatures of the state, with that 10 to 20, can local boards shorten that, or is that mandated, the 10 to 20?
Do we have any leeway in that?
Oh, if you wanted a shorter period of time,
Yes, sir.
the board could do a shorter period of
So
time.
you could,
Yeah, I mean, the law sets it that it's no later than 10 business days, or up to 20 if you need to request it. It could be a shorter version of time. I think that's something you'd wanna consider, what the demand on staff would be to be able to provide something like that in a short period of time.
Mr. Walter, you good?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Mr. Griffin, any questions?
No, sir.
Ms. Rial?
No.
Mrs. Bird? Any questions?
Well, I have questions about it, but I don't know if it really pertains to what we're talking about right now.
I'm happy to talk about them now, and if it's something that we should revisit in closed session, we can just do that as well.
Well, there was a few things that I had picked out, maybe you can clarify for me. But under instruction for gender identity, number 5.
So, number 5 on what?
Let me get back in there and find it. Under the Parents' Bill of Rights, instruction for gender identity.
3540.
Yo,
There.
under your,
3540.
Under
yes.
your-
It's
Summary?
you,
Yes.
it's under you.
Or
It's there.
the action items, or the
Yeah.
other one? I have
Hold on.
many documents.
one,
Sorry.
got
The one that's action
it
item.
got your law firm letterhead.
I have at least 2 of those.
One in your right hand.
This one?
Yeah.
All right.
It was on page,
I don't remember seeing that.
let me find it.
It's on, attachment 6, I think.
Yes. So in this, the manual is
On the
page 12.
Other document.
Okay. She's talking about the other document.
Yeah, well, it's probably in that too. Number 5.
Yes.
Okay, that's, my question was, it says instruction, which meaning they can't, teach it, discuss it, if someone chooses to be whatever they wanna be, right? So they can't have that in the classroom as an instruction.
There's not to be, the instruction's not to be included in the curriculum.
No, yeah.
And
So-
if we do wanna talk about like hypotheticals or things like that we should do in closed session, cause that I can provide legal advice on.
Right.
But it is specifically that instruction is not to be included on those topics, is not to be included in the curriculum. And it does not include, or that's defined to not include responses to student-initiated questions.
Okay. So my question is, it's only kindergarten through 4th grade,
That's correct.
so it doesn't include K through 12, it's just,
They have a curriculum guide.
And that's from the law itself. I mean, that's what the law requires, is that it prohibits it in K through 4.
okay.
So we would not have any leeway on that age. That's, we would not be able to change any of that and take that to a later age if we felt like we needed to do that for that, starting, even if we didn't do it. I mean, would we have any leeway on that?
The short lawyerly version is possibly,
We'll talk about it later.
the long, yes, that's the longer version, is
Okay.
that's something we talk about.
Okay.
I can give you some advice on that.
Thank you, thank you.
But there is a curriculum for each subject area from DPI, which we cover, and we don't go off
So,
any further than that.
so curriculum for purposes of the bill,
Let's say for health,
yeah, well, the curriculum for the bill is defined differently than like the
Yeah.
DPI curriculum. It's more broad than that, because the definition here says that curriculum includes a standard course of study and support materials, locally developed curriculum, supplemental instruction, textbooks and other supplementary materials. So that's where it really would come into play, is more if we're talking supplementary materials, something that isn't necessarily part of the DPI curriculum, but that supports the areas focused on in that curriculum.
And I know this isn't curriculum, but it kind of plays into all of this. So when we were in Jacksonville, at the meeting that we were at just recently. So our question being this came up about the bathrooms, is this a good time to write a policy on the bathrooms? So that we don't get into a situation like we have in the past? And according to the one that was presenting the legislative, he said it was a local decision policy, not a state policy.
About whether to have a policy?
Mhm.
Whether to have a policy or not would be a local decision for you all. I can certainly provide some guidance about where that would fall within the law, as the courts have interpreted how that looks. This would not change how that's been interpreted by prior court cases.
Gotcha, okay. We'll go into the new aspects later, I guess. Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah.
And certainly I think that there'll be further discussion, again, back in open session at the next meeting, we're looking at the second reading and adoption of the policies. But I do want to provide an opportunity, if there's questions that need some more legal guidance, to have that in closed session.
Thank you, Dave.
Action item B, athletic pay scale.
Board members, you have a pay scale in your packet that includes a pay scale for high school and middle school coaches. Ms. Raby has reviewed this. We've kind of put in the new figures based on this pay scale. We anticipate that it will increase expenses for athletics about $5,000 to $6,000. Ms. Raby also did some looking into the account of athletics as a whole, about how much we were spending on athletics as a district, and it's around $150,000, whether you realize it or not. But anyhow, she feels fine that our budget can accommodate these raises to our coaches' pay scale, and so I would recommend to you that we approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
You wanna go back?
Action item C, budget amendment number 2.
Good evening, everyone. I believe you have before you attached, you have the budget amendment for number 2, and attached to that should be the details of budget activities since the last meeting. At this point in the year, we would expect to be at about 16% in terms of our spending for each of our fund sources. And as a whole, we are right at about that percentage. For our state, we have still not received our final state budget, so we try to remain conservative in terms of our state spending, without affecting instruction, of course. But we are just trying to monitor our state spending until we get our final state budget. The budget amendment 2 that you have before you, the only change that I am asking the board to approve is the increase in the federal budget, because we have received notices from the state that we've received our carry forward in a few of our PRCs for our federal funding, and that's what's reflected there for the increase of $23,000. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Mr. Watson, any questions?
On Ms. Remy, on 131, is that a norm there with the textbooks and digital resources material? Is that normal?
Yes, we anticipate that our 131 funds, we will receive another increase in our 131 funds, and so
Okay.
that's how we budgeted the way that we did. But yes, sir, that right now is our norm.
When I see 555% spent, it kind of worries me, but we're gonna.
Yes, sir, we
I got you.
expect when we get our final state budget that will increase.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Griffin?
No.
Ms. Vial?
No.
Ms. Burke?
Thank
Need a
you.
motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
budget amendment 2.
Got a motion?
And second.
Got a second? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Action item E, out-of-state field trip requests.
Board members, we're asking that you approve the 2023 FFA National Convention trip for our FFA students. It's in Indianapolis, Indiana. They will depart on October the 30th. They will use a bus company to transport them, and just as they have done in years past, they've gone through the process and outlined exactly who's carrying them, transportation, and all the necessary communication.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? 22-23 data results.
Good evening. Here, I know you already got a little sneak peek of our data from 22-23. I'll try to go into a little bit more detail with you so we can all celebrate a lot of what happened last school year. So first, these are our enrollment numbers. I tried to provide this to you just to kind of keep you abreast of where our numbers are. The blue is where we ended at the end of last school year per school and at the district level. And the red is where we were as of Friday of last week. So those numbers, you know, tend to fluctuate quite a bit during the first 10 days of our school year, and 10th day is tomorrow. But we just try to keep an eye on those so that we can make adjustments if need be in K-3 class sizes and things like that. So any questions about enrollment numbers? It's a good thing. And this is just a quick overview. Those are links to that you don't have to click on, but y'all are welcome to. There's a background brief where DPI kind of explains to you what the accountability framework looks like, as well as a testing dashboard that is interactive. All of our schools met 95% participation targets, which is important because if we don't meet those participation targets, the state can revert back proficiency scores to meet that 95%. So we always are stressing that we need the students in school and taking those assessments as needed. And they did a great job getting all the kids in there. All of our schools also met expected growth this year, and that's a biggie. We always want to see our kids meeting growth, and all 5 of our schools met expected growth this school year. That's something to celebrate. And all of our schools did make significant gains, and we'll kind of look at some of those numbers as we go through this PowerPoint. And you'll see that overall we performed higher than most of the surrounding schools and districts around us, so we have a lot to be proud of from last school year. We do have one low performing school still. Trenton is still low performing, but they made significant gains, which you'll see on the next slide, between where they were last year and where they are this current school year. So we're very optimistic that they'll hopefully come out low performing this school year. But we are no longer a low performing district. Last year we had 3 out of 5 schools that were low performing, and we only have 1 out of 5, so our district is now no longer designated as low performing. Our cohort graduation rate, which is that 4-year graduation rate where students are put in a cohort their 9th grade year, and we track them through their senior year, expecting that they graduate in those 4 years, has increased from 85.1% last year to 95% this school year. And the number of students earning a silver, gold, or platinum certificate on work keys also increased from 40% to 61.5%. There's a lot of highlights, but these are 2 pretty important. I think they're really great. So, but you'll see some more things to celebrate as we move on. So this is a 2-year comparison. 21-22 is on the left, and 22-23 is on the right, and you can see how each school improved. So Pollocksville went from overall performance of 68% to 72%, making them a B. And these are, when I say overall performance, there's a grade level proficiency, which is achievement levels 3, 4, 5 on the assessment. And that is 80% of that school performance grade that you see listed A, B, C, D, or F. The other 20% is that growth marker where they meet or not met or exceed growth. And so when you see that 68%, that's their grade number, and it equates to a B for Pollocksville. Comfort stayed a C there at 69%. A B is 70%. So they're very, very close to a B. Maysville, significant gains from a 48% to a 61%, moving them from a D to a C. Trenton, moving from 38% to a 52%, which is significant in one school year, and a 55 would have put them at a C. So they are 3 points away, so that's why we feel confident going into the school year. We all want all the schools to continue to improve and grow, but we know that we needed to make some changes and have a plan to help get those students and teachers performing, and they came through very well. So, and Jones Senior went from 53% to 63%, also met growth this year, which is huge for that school. So this is Paulusville's numbers. Blue is 21-22. It should be the same on all the slides coming up. In green and is 22-23. And you can see our numbers for the most part went up this school year. You'll see a little bit of a decline in grade 5 science as you go through here. And our focus was on reading and math last school year. I mean, not that science isn't important, but reading and math, we knew those kids needed to know how to read before they could ever even know how to do anything in the science, and the same with math. So we put a lot of stress on reading and math last year. Comfort, same thing. You'll see significant growth in most areas, including their overall. Maysville, you'll see the same thing. It's like a broken record, but it's a good broken record. So I'm happy to stand up here and present it to you. Trenton made significant gains in a lot of their areas. And so Jones Senior, they have a lot of other indicators. This is their academic indicators, which is reading and math and science, as well as their EOC subjects in each of those areas. So Math 1, Math 3, Biology, and English 2. And they did well in their academic areas. In the next screen, we'll show you how they did on their other indicators as well. The EL progress is a little bit difficult to track. Those are our EL students, whether or not they exited out of EL status, and we're still working with a lot of those new English learners in our district. But everything else, they made gains, and significant gains in the work keys. So this is our district comparisons to areas around us. I put North Carolina in there so you can see where we were. Included a few extras that they were not as close to us, but maybe similar to us, such as Pamlico and Green, are included in this slide as well. And you can see that we are right there towards the top of those numbers. So Jones County is a good place to be. It's kind of small, but you can see it in your PowerPoint hopefully. This is kind of how we compare to other high schools around us, where they were with their grade level proficiency. Did they meet growth? Did they not meet growth? And what was their overall school performance grade? And this is just so you can see where we ended up compared to those around us in the high school area.
Pamlico's ahead of us. Pamlico's ahead of us.
Yes.
Pamlico's ahead of us.
Yes. But that, you know what? Barely.
Barely. Crack the whip.
Just barely. And these are some elementary schools that are around us as well, including our 4 elementary schools, and we did really well last year, and I'm just very tickled and proud of everything that we've accomplished. We know that we have a plan moving forward to support Trenton. We've already got a lot of things in place, and we'll continue to do that to help them, as well as the other schools. But this is where we are right now, as of in the last school year. You have any questions for me on the data?
Mr. Walsh?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Griffin?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is exceptional, and keeping in mind that 21-22 was post-COVID,
Yes,
and we got them back in full-time school,
that's right.
so really good.
Yes, a lot of gains in 1 year.
Ms. Griffin?
Yeah.
Ms. Burke?
I'm excited to see the growth, and I just give congratulations to everyone that was involved in that. It's a team effort, and I'm really proud.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Thank y'all.
Sure, thank you.
I want to say congratulations, and with this coming out of the hole, I know it's always a fast climb. Do we have the support to continue this growth, or will we see a decline, or will we see a steady? Will we see all these schools remain at a C now that we're climbed out, or we continue to grow? Will we see Trenton grab 10 points after they become a C school? Do we have a plan to continue this growth?
It is
and
part
not
of our
get
strategic
satisfied.
plan, that we do continue, it's a 5-year plan, as Dr. Thigpen shared with you. And part of that is supporting those academic indicators for all the schools, not just, it's for all the schools and the district.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I just didn't want us to get satisfied because
No, we
we're
do
out
not.
of looking
No,
for
we
it.
do not.
Approval of Safe Fleet GPS quote.
Good evening again. Just wanted to, just say, the school year has been an awesome year already started for transportation. Just want to throw that out. Also just want to share that we have put already on our own buses and installed it in the shop. So we can be able to talk to schools, stakeholders, different ones, so that everything has been installed on buses. Want to just talk about Safe Fleet. I have been in contact with a few companies trying to get some GPSs. I think we were dealing with Synovia Solution when I first got here. Found out the windows are being utilized. So I got to trying to grab some information. Safe Fleet, I've been doing a demo with them for the last few months to see how things will work with them. Just tracking a few bus or two to see how things work. It will be where this system, it was the cheapest from where I seen what they want for the system. It would track all buses. Also, there'd be driver and attendance time, live time when the drivers clock in and out. And I know it's something that we need to be able to track our buses just to make things safe. So that's why we're trying to get approval. We're moving forward with this here. Do anyone have any questions?
You say this will clock the bus drivers in and out?
Yes, we'll give them a card. They're gonna give us like some riff cards where they'll scan in every day, morning and afternoon, on and off the bus, and that'll be live time that they'll clock in. It'll be where we're tracking it, and I'm one of those. I'm hard on it, making sure that we track that stuff. Cause we've been doing that paperwork here for the last year, and I know where we need to be. We're having things where drivers clocking in to make sure we're getting the adequate time and making sure drivers are doing what they need to be doing.
Ms. Helen, you got your approval on that?
I was gonna ask her the same thing.
She would know.
We'll try.
It sounds like it'll kill a couple birds with one stone, doesn't it, Deputy Julius?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we need it to move forward with this.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? All right, approval of VX rail lease.
Good evening. I'm asking for, requesting a board approval of the VX rail lease. It's tabled last month because the lease information that I provided didn't have enough, figures and stuff, we're asking questions about. So, this month, you should have in your packets the, VX rail quote, the lease, and also the, statement of work. The total VX rail quote was $119,833.14. The lease payment is $32,093.83 over a 4-year period, annually. And the difference between the lease cost and the quote is $8,375.42. So, that's how much, I guess, the interest for the lease would be is $8,375.32.
Say that again for me. The lease.
Okay, so, the quote is for.
Gotcha. I got it, Victor. I'm good, thank you.
You good?
But yeah, how many payments did you say?
4 annual payments.
All right, thank you, Billy.
You can pull some out of your pocket.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Also mention the sole source. We want to make sure we get that in the minutes that we're asking to approve the sole source. They approve it as a sole
Okay,
source.
all right. So we're also asking for approval of sole source of Presidio. I think Terry was emailed information we need to
You wanna give them a 30,000 foot level of what a sole source is?
Yes, so Victor's doing this work through Dell, VX Rail, and they're using Presidio as their vendor of choice. With it being over $100,000, we should receive approval from the board to use them. They have documented that they are a sole source vendor of this product. Also, it'll be a continuation of service for us because we're already using their product. We're just entering into a new agreement with them. So we wanna make sure that, we get approval to use them as a sole source vendor and continuation of service for the full 4-year agreement.
Do we have to do anything with the state because of the sole source or not?
No, sir, the state regulation stated we can document that they are sole source vendor of this product, that we just get board approval and then we can move forward.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Can I, there should be two motions made, one to approve it as a sole source vendor and then one to approve the lease. So we should separate those two motions.
I'll make a motion to approve the sole source vendor.
And I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
I'll make a motion to approve the
Lease.
money part,
Lease.
whatever it is.
The lease.
The lease agreement.
The lease
The
agreement.
lease,
Yes,
whatever it is.
the lease.
If it's all right with David. It's all right with
Got
you.
it. Got a
If someone can specify in the minutes whatever it is.
You got a
that's-
motion.
Candace, you got that?
Got a motion.
I'll second.
Got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further public comment?
First one is the sole source.
Nope. Board comment. Mr. Walsh, point shot.
No, sir, I appreciate the hard work we've done with growth and, just turning things around. Thank you so much, everybody. Dr. P, thank you. We've done it before. We know we can get it and maintain it. We had some tough times the last few years, but thank you so much, everybody.
Mr. Griffin.
I think it's along the same lines Mr. Walson is. I think we've done a great job. It's the first year. We started the year last year with 0 vacancies, vacant employment. And I think this shows what kind of staff we've maintained, by getting the scores up and with the leadership. So I appreciate all the leadership we've had to get these scores where they are, even though they're still coming up. That's all.
Good. Mr. Y'all.
I appreciate the same, and I appreciate all the faces in the audience tonight. It looks nice to have this representation from the communities.
Come back next month, please.
Ms. Bird.
I wanna thank Dr. Thigpen for, standing and assuring that we're moving in the right direction at all of our schools. And, I congratulate everyone on the hard work, 'cause it really was a lot of hard work. And again, I ask you to reach out to your commissioners to help us in the future for funding. COVID was not a good thing, but as far as the school goes, we wouldn't be this far had it not been and we had funding. So in the future, we're gonna need it, and we're gonna need complete support from our county, and that will come from you guys. And we'd appreciate your support. I'd also like to congratulate, Will Sutton. Fresh Prince Villa. Will Sutton started, it was what, Friday? So I saw him and Barbara, and boy, they were just bouncing off each other with all this excitement, so there's great things coming about. And so we look forward to a great year, and thank you for your support.
Again, I just reflect on what they're saying. Congratulations on the growth. When I wear my day hat, first time a developer come in or any manufacturer, the first thing they ask is how are your school system? And it's hard to pitch any type of economic or housing projects when your schools are failing. They rarely go to other counties, so thank you for that. We're moving this county forward with that, and again, congratulations Second, a sentiment, I look at this letter, I heard us keep saying, let's go into the county commissioners, let's go to the county commissioners funded. What is the Board of Education gonna do? Don't shoot the messenger, but we are the highest paid board in this district, in this area. Are we willing to cut our pay to save jobs? We're outpaid more than Onslow County, which has 20,000 students. We have 1,000 students, and we make triple of what they make. Are we willing to cut our salary? We keep going back to the county commissioners, asking them for money. Are we willing to cut our salaries? We got the perfect opportunity. State law said it's hard to do before the election. We got the opportunity before the election to make a bold stand on, are we willing to do what it takes? That vote has to be unanimous. That is a state law. I do want to put that out there. We keep going back to the county commissioners. Are we willing to do what it takes as well? Motion to enter in closed session. Discuss personnel.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Motion should also be to receive attorney-client.
Got that. You made a motion.
Yes. Motion to receive attorney-client privilege. My bad. It's the first time we've done it like that. That's good.
I'll second.
Got a second. All in favor?
All right.
We're now in the closed session. Good, thank you for coming.
Excuse me, can I get just one picture with, Ms. Helen Hill in front of the board before y'all